All right, linear equations. This should be a nice little recap for you from Algebra 1. But if you need me to slow down or anything like that, let me know. All right, tell me what you know. Whenever I say the equation of a line, what's the first thing that comes into your mind? Huh? What?
I'm thinking 180.
Okay, you're thinking about the degrees of a line. That's exactly right. But think more algebraically. What do you think whenever I talk about the equation of a line? Everybody always thinks of this one, the slope. Everybody always thinks about the slope. I don't know why, but they do. So tell me then, what is slope of a line? Whoa. You're right, Alex. Keep going. All right, so that's slope-intercept form of the line. What is, M is the slope. How do you find that slope, or what does the slope represent? Somebody knows this. Come on, come on. Slope is the steepness of the line, right? How steep it is. The bigger the slope, the steeper it gets. Think going up a hill, okay? We'd say that slope is rise over what? Run. Thank you. So the y values are what rises. So we say that we take the y's and subtract their values. The x is what runs. We're thinking on a coordinate plane, so we got an x and a y. So then we subtract the x's. Now if you do y2 minus y1, these are the same thing. You can do either one. As long as whichever one you start with on the top, you start with on the bottom. Okay? So every formula that you use to write the equation of a line, you always, always, always have to have the slope. So let's practice finding the slope between 2 points. Let's say I have the point -1, 2 and 4, -2. How might I find the slope between those 2 points? Do your y's first up top. -2 minus 2. And if you do 2 minus -2, you're going to come out with the same thing. It doesn't matter. Over. Now, because I started with this one up top, I need to start with this one on the bottom. So 4 minus -1. Everybody sees where we got those? The y's over the x's. Are y'all okay? Are y'all understanding or not? Or just, this is boring because you know how to do it? I don't really know how to read the expression on y'all's faces right now. All right. -2 minus 2 is? -4. Thank you. And 4 minus -1 is 5. So that means from any point on the line, any point at all, from that one to the next point, I would go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 5. Okay? A positive slope, you go up, then right. For a negative slope, you go down and right. So this line, now I don't know where it exactly would be located just yet on the coordinate plane, but that line, that's what the slope, the steepness, the slope would look like there. Does that make sense to everybody? Let's do one more because nobody's really saying anything, so I don't know if that's good or bad. You try this one and then we'll do it together. Find the slope between the 2 points. Yes. 1, 1, and 3, 4. Find the slope and tell me what it is. All right, let's do it together. Difference of the y's. So 4 minus 1, and then difference of the x's. 3 over 2, is that what everybody got? So you go up 3 over 2 from every point. Everybody good? All right, let's move on then. Let's write some equations. So there are a few different forms of lines, equations of lines, and Alex already told us about one. Equations. I hope this is a review for you. There's 3 different kinds that we're really going to be looking at. The one we've already talked about briefly was slope-intercept, and it is called slope-intercept because it gives us the slope and the intercept. M is always our slope, which means B is what? What is it? The intercept, the y-intercept. It's where it crosses the y-axis. So if I had a line in slope-intercept form, and we're really going to focus on writing the equation of the line, but just as a refresher, if I had something that looked like this, okay, that would tell me that on my axis here, 1 is my y-intercept, and from that point, I'm going to go down 2 and over 3. And there's my line. Does that make sense? Y'all give me a nod or something. Okay. Goodness gracious. The second kind. Y'all know what? All right. The second kind is what we call, this is my favorite, point slope. It looks the worst, but it's the easiest. If you are writing an equation, it's the easiest to use. Okay? It is exactly what it sounds like. It gives you a point and a slope. Of course, M is my slope. M is always my slope. And x1, y1 would be any point at all on the line. Just a random point on the line. Any point on that line will work. Okay? It's easier to plug it in there and then manipulate to get back to slope-intercept form if you need to, but this is a perfectly acceptable form of a line. Okay? Point slope. That's the one you'll use the most as we go through writing equations. The last form, and then we'll do some examples. The last form is what we call standard form. And so standard form is whenever both variables are on the same side. So maybe it looks something like this. And let's see, let me give you an example in standard form. Maybe 2x plus 3y equals 6. Some people call this intercept form because it's really easy to find the intercepts in this form. Whenever I teach my Algebra 1s to graph this, I teach them cover up. Have y'all ever seen cover up before? Mm-hmm. You cover up this part, so 3y equals 6, which means you solve that for y. If 3y equals 6, then y equals 2. If 2x equals 6, x equals 3. These are the two intercepts. That's not a point. Those are two different intercepts. So maybe, come on. Let me just show you. Again, we're not going to be so much graphing right now as we are writing the equations. So that's what that line would look like. Now, could you solve it for y and get it in slope-intercept form? Sure, you could. But standard form's easy to do, cover up and find the intercepts on. All right, so let's do a few examples. Those are our 3 forms. Oh, let me show you 2 other little things. Let me go back. Vertical and horizontal lines. I just want to make sure I touch on this, that you remember. X equals a number. Whatever that number may be is always a vertical line. Okay, so if X equals 2, that is a vertical line at 2. Whereas Y equals is a horizontal line. Y'all remember learning that? I hope so. Just as a refresher there before we jump into the rest. All right, let's write the equations. We'll run through a few different scenarios of what you can be given and what kind of equation you can write. Let's say I asked you to write the equation of the line with a slope of 2, and it goes through the point -3, -4. What form of equation should I use? Look at what I'm given. I'm given a point and a slope, so I should use point slope. Okay? I'm not trying to trick y'all, I promise I'm not. I'm going to write point slope here so we can reference it. Remember, M is the slope. X1, Y1 is a point on the line. I have both of those things. This is going to be my X1. This is going to be my Y1. And this is going to be my M. And I am just going to plug in. Is everybody okay with that? All right. Y minus what? -4 equals slope. That's where y'all say 2. X minus -3. Just because I got some double negatives in there, I'm going to clean it up a little bit. Y plus 4, 2 times X plus 3. Notice how the signs are changed in point slope form, okay? What sign I started with here is the opposite sign once I'm finished. That's the way it's supposed to be. Now, unless they say give me the equation in slope-intercept form, you can stop right there. Okay? Stop. But let's take that same equation and let's make this into another problem. So I've got Y plus 4 equals 2 times X plus 3. Let's put that in slope-intercept form. What might I need to do? That you're exactly right. Distribute. Because here's what I'm going to do. Slope-intercept form is just when I've solved for y. That's it. So my first step, yes, I'm going to distribute this 2 through here. So I've got y plus 4, 2x plus 6, and now what? What's the slope of my line? What's my y-intercept? One more? Okay. So wait. Let's say I want the equation of a line. Write an equation. This time I'm going to tell you, write an equation in slope-intercept form. With a slope of 1/2 and through the point negative, come on, negative 6/8. So even though it's asking me for slope-intercept form, I can start out in point slope, since that's what I'm given, and then manipulate back into slope-intercept form. And that's probably the easiest thing to do here. So y minus what? 8 equals slope times x. And I'm just going to go ahead and do plus 6 so I don't have to go back and change. So there's point slope. I need it to be in slope intercept. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute through. And solve for y. What do I need to do for y? I mean, how do I get y by itself? Yay or nay? Yay. Let me tell you about parallel and perpendicular, and I'll be done. Tell me what you know about parallel lines. They never cross. What else do you know? Specifically about their slopes.
Same slope.
They always have the same slope. Always. What do you know about perpendicular lines? They cross at what? At what? At a point. What's special about the point that they cross at? What's the degree that they cross at? 90 degrees. They always cross at a right angle, right? What do you know about their slopes? Or do you? Yep, they're completely opposite. They are negative reciprocal slopes. Which basically means whatever you have for a slope for one, you take that slope, you flip it, and you change the sign. So I call these flip and switch. So if one of them has, let's say, a slope of 2, then the perpendicular line has a slope of negative 1/2. You flip it and you change the sign. We'll do one parallel, one perpendicular, and I'll be done. Write the equation of the line that goes through the point 1, negative 2, and is parallel to 3x minus 2y equals 1. Tell me what you know. I got a point, that's right. I got a point 1, negative 2. What else do I know? They're going to have the same slope. So if it's going to have the same slope as this, I need to find this slope. How am I going to find this slope? get y by itself. What do I need to do first to get y by itself? Subtract the 3. So I've got negative 2y equals negative 3x plus 1. Now what? What you going to do about that negative 2? Divide. And I'm doing all this not to get the equation, but to get the slope. I did all that because this is what I'm after. Negative 3 divided by negative 2 gives me a positive, right? So my slope, now I've got a new problem. I've got a problem of writing the equation of a line with a slope of 3/2 and through the point 1, negative 2. What formula should I use? Point slope. I have a point, I have a slope, I should use point slope. Y plus 2. Do you see why I did plus 2? Opposite signs, exactly. Equals slope x minus 1. It did not specify a certain form that my equation had to be in, so I will leave it just like that. I know I've been talking a little longer than normal, so just quickly, if I had asked you to do this for perpendicular instead of parallel, what would the difference here be? So your new slope would be what? Negative 2/3. Everything else about this equation would be the same, but it would be y plus 2 equals negative 2/3. Oh, I didn't mean to put parentheses there. And then x minus 1.